Hi everybody, this is Agent Melero once again from Miami Acupuncture Therapy, and in today's video we're going to talk about Herbal Antiviral, which is a formula we have custom formulated specifically for people that come up with a virus. Now, we're going to present the following. First, we're going to talk about why typical mainstream remedies do not work for viruses. We're also going to talk about why every household should not be without this. We're going to talk about my custom formula and the all-star lineup of 8 ingredients in this custom formula and its effectiveness. Finally, I'm going to mention about a true colloidal silver add-on that I use to make this herbal formula extra potent. Now, firstly, antibiotics cannot eliminate virus. A virus is not like a living thing, like a cell, like a bacteria doesn't have like a nucleus or organelles. So you really can't kill it in the sense where an antibiotic might kill a bacteria, for example. The way the virus works, as you see in the illustration, the picture with the legs, like it infects the cells, healthy, normal cells, and it quote unquote hijacks them and it uses them to replicate, and that's how they multiply. By infecting other cells, they turn them into kind of like zombies and they move on and infect other cells and they spread. So you really can't kill them with antibiotics. And if your physician is giving you antibiotics for something that's a virus, please find another doctor. And then, yeah, there's medicines like Tamiflu and other over-the-counter things that help, but those things only bring symptoms relief and just okay, but you really need to do something about the actual virus. So what is needed is something that will mechanically obstruct replication. And a lot of these herbs, ingredients in the antiviral, they mechanically obstruct as well as with the silver. If you see the legs here of the virus that attach to the cells, there's certain things, a mechanism that obstruct the virus and prevents it from multiplying. And then your immune system and your white blood cells, they do the rest. And that's where herbs and colloidal silver comes in. Now, why every household cannot be without an herbal antiviral? Well, it's pretty simple. It's inevitable that someone in your household will eventually come down with the flu or possibly some other viral infection. So it's basically a matter of time. And, just having it in stock there in your household is very convenient, especially since it's essential to have the remedy already on hand in order to quickly squash at early onset. And that is the number one best way to get rid of any kind of ailment, by squashing it while it's still in a superficial stage and then before the virus replicates. Because in some cases, it's possible for a virus to double the number of infected cells every 20 minutes. So the earlier you nip it in the bud, the quicker. There's other little things you can do to slow down or squash things. Like, for example, if you have like mucus, you start getting runny mucus. If you blow it all out, blow your nose right away. That's one mechanism. The mucus surrounds like germs and stuff, and you could expel at least part of it, preventing stuff from multiplying. And then, by taking this herbal remedy, you could also squash it. And if you're not sure if you have a virus infection or if it's a bacterial infection or what it is, this herbal formula has compounds that's antibacterial as well that can kill bacteria, so it'll kill either. So whichever it is, it can squash it. So I just find that very convenient, and that was part of my thinking in some of the particular ingredients and aspects of this when putting this together. Um, this is very useful for pandemic preparedness as well. Think it can't happen here? Well, with modern air travel, airplanes and airports, pandemics can get to anywhere and quickly. And now you have ever-growing numbers of illegal immigrants who want to come in without the required health screening for pathogens. And who knows, the next war will have up their sleeve in the form of bioweapons. When contagion arrives, the remedies will already be out of stock. Another thing, flu shots. Flu shots are a hit or miss for the correct ever-growing number of strains of virus. The risk of toxic side effects over questionable efficacy is simply not worth the risks. The lack of accountability and quality control by the vaccine makers is enough for me not to personally take the risk. I always recommend the right mineral and micronutrient consumption for optimal immune strength. So in other words, if you're consuming certain minerals that help boost up the immune function, things like vitamin D, zinc, and other things that make it more difficult to get sick, even when you do get sick, it's going to be harder for you, or should I say the severity won't be as strong, and it'll make it easier to take something like this herbal antiviral instead of trying to take something that might also have on another end an adverse effect. So to me, it's a no-brainer. You know, it's like, oh, why do I need the MMR if I get the measles? Well, we're not in a third country. You have herbal antiviral where, you know, you can resolve as long as you try and nip it in the bud and get on top of things and treat things. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is the all-star lineup of ingredients. And this was custom formulated by myself. Some of these ingredients by themselves, even if you just take it by itself, that one ingredient, you could pretty much kill a virus. But I decided to put a bunch of them together. Some of them work a little bit better versus certain specific strains of viruses than others. And when you put them together, it's kind of like more like a team effect, you know, better than the sum of the individual parts when they work together. And it's very, very powerful. First ingredient, the main herb, which is the chief, the one that I have the most of it in, is Banlanjian, which is pretty much a Chinese herb. Historically, the go-to herb in China for viruses for thousands of years, it is difficult to dispute such a long track record of anecdotal success. It contains antiviral compounds, the clemastine B, which inhibit pneumonia and virus proliferation in lung tissue. And notice, inhibiting proliferation might not necessarily kill it per se, but it prevents it from spreading. You know, you need to count on your body's own white blood cells and its own immune building ability to kill it too. It inhibits hemagglutinin, a virus at early stage of infection. It contains ligand, which inhibits nuclear factor kappa B signaling by the virus and blocks importation of NP protein of the virus. So that kind of like blocks the infection of the healthy cells, like I was explaining earlier. It is also antibacterial. This herb Banlanjian also has antibacterial qualities, thus helping knock out secondary infections. It is broad spectrum germicidal, and it even has a US patent number for treating HIV and AIDS. I'm not saying it can kill it or cure it, but I'm just saying that there exists a US patent for treating it. The next one, Osha root, another antiviral superstar. This one has been used for many generations of Native Americans in the West. It was used with a lot of success during the 1918 pandemic, the Spanish flu. And this is not an inexpensive herb. This is quite pricey because it's a little difficult to obtain. This herb cannot really be farmed. It must be wildcrafted in the mountains, found at elevations of 9,000 plus feet. It also has a mechanism in what Chinese medicine refers to as clear the exterior to sweating. It's kind of like an expulsion effect. The next herb, Da Qing Yang, same plant as the first ingredient, but instead of the root, is the leaf part of the herb, Banlanjian. It is also directly antiviral and it helps activate the other herbs and medicines. Also clears heat. Mudan P, shown to be effective versus a broad range of pathogens. As you see in the picture, we get it from Mayway herbs. Later on in the presentation, you're going to see some of the information of where I source these herbs. They're just not from anywhere, and we do take the expense and the time to screen out for quality on everything that we do. Banzi Lian. I like this one because it has like a little minty taste to it, so it kind of helps lessen the bitter taste of the herb. This is a Chinese antiviral and also has been documented use in America in the 1800s for viruses such as rabies. Xiakusao, another strong heat clearing herb, has been used in China in a successful treatment of herpes. And speaking of strong heat clearing, almost all these herbs, except maybe for the osha root, they have what in Chinese medicine is categorized as clearing heat, cold and bitter category. And it can bring down fevers very quickly. And I've used these ingredients on my daughter as a small child. She has a fever and I was freaking out. And I gave her a very small dose. I was trying to be conservative since it was a pediatric dose. And she didn't even take the whole thing. It was very bitter. She didn't want to take it. And then, but she did take a little bit. But I didn't think it would be enough. But lo and behold, I was really shocked because her fever really went down. I was like, wow, just from that little amount. And I was like, this is very strong stuff. This is very, very powerful medicinal stuff. So I've been very impressed with this, and every herb and every product that I use, that I sell, is stuff that I use in my immediate family. It's like my first go-to stuff. Seventh ingredient, Jinjin Hua, heat clearing herb commonly used in China for flu and cold. And it's a very common household product formula called Ying Chao San, and this is the main ingredient in that. And this is well known in China if you come down with the flu or anything like that, and it's in this formula as well. Gansao, ingredient to harmonize and balance the formula and helps make the bitter taste of the formula more tolerable. Gansao is basically licorice root, and in many Chinese herbal formulas is used to harmonize and help the action of the herbs work together. And it just so happens it has some antimicrobial properties, so that helps too. And when I say bitter taste of the formula more tolerable, yeah, it's not the best tasting thing in the world, but I didn't make this to taste good. If I just wanted to make a product that tastes good, I'll just sell candy. But this product was made to work really well. And I decline to put anything that, whether it's high fructose corn syrup or anything that might just give it taste, just to make it more sellable, because I just didn't want anything that would be detrimental. So if the patient wants to have this product and wants to do something about the taste, maybe you can mix it with a little juice. Sometimes it could be mixed with the Tylenol cold syrup, with a little oral syringe. And then there's other little things you could take it down with a chaser or something as if you were taking a shot. So, I will leave that up to the person to mix it with something that will help with the taste a little bit. Like I mentioned earlier about the Mayway herbs, the ingredients, we really do take that seriously. We want to make sure we have the most quality items that are tested for pesticides and heavy metals. If you want to read through the specific type of testing that they do, you could pause the video and read through it. But basically, we don't skimp on quality. And historically, the ingredients in this formula has antibacterial qualities as well. and is an overall good broad spectrum germicidal. So it's very versatile. And in my own household, I average maybe about 8 to 12 ounces used each year for various issues. Things come up, I feel like I might be coming down with something, I just take it right away, and usually within a day, like, if I can nip it in the bud, I feel like I'm pretty much okay. And I cannot imagine allowing myself to be without it for our own family. It's like right there. There's so many things that you might need to visit a physician for, and there's really no, you get the flu. I mean, what are you gonna do? Well, we have this. And then by storing these amber bottles away from light and intrude colloidal silver, I can keep it for years without worrying about expirations. Now, what's colloidal silver? That's something I'm going to talk about in a future video, probably coming up within the next couple of weeks. So if you subscribe to my channel, you won't miss it. It's very interesting, fascinating stuff. And I'll be explaining why the one I make is of a particular quality. And I came up with the colloidal silver idea because I do sell it apart if you just want it only colloidal silver, but I figured since most herbal tinctures you need to make the extraction process with a combination of distilled water and extract the whole ethanol to extract. I was like, well, if I'm going to use distilled water anyways, I could just run it through my professional colloidal silver machine maker and just make the colloidal silver as part of the formula, since I can include distilled water anyways. And I think this makes this much more powerful. Now, very briefly, I'm going to go into more detail in another video, but more briefly, colloidal silver has a more mechanical action. If you look in the picture down below, that's a picture of a virus. Like the legs basically, they attach to the cells, and that's how they infect the cells to make them multiply and infect other cells. Well, the silver, the tiny nanoparticles, the smaller they are, the more effective. They obstruct that. They obstruct that attachment process, whatever it is that the virus puts into a cell. The DNA, the strands of DNA, in order for it to work or to reproduce, like, it has to be straight. The colloidal silver obstructs that, and it makes it more difficult for the virus to proliferate. And all these little things put together, they just add up to make this really cool stuff. Now, a little disclaimer, if you're sick, I will still visit a physician to confirm exactly what it is I have that is making me sick. If you're pregnant, do not take, as there is not enough research data on some of the ingredients to determine if there will be any adverse effects. If you're not pregnant, it should be okay. There's no, this type of plant material is basically the extract of the actual plant, whether it's a root or leaf, and it's not gonna have any adverse effects as far as like side effects. But as far as like there's a fetus, like, since it's not known officially based on studies, I just don't want to put out there that it might affect the fetus. So basically, even though it's not approved by the FDA, it is a custom Chinese herbal formula using Chinese medicine, which is under my license. So if I want to make a custom formula for a certain condition under the scope of Oriental medicine, it's within my license. So if you want to read the disclaimer, you could pause the video and read it thoroughly. But that's it in a nutshell. Probably wondering what would be a good dosage suggestion. Since this is a custom formula, I do recommend getting a dosage suggestion by Oriental medicine physician. If you subscribe to my channel and you message us with an email to let us know what you did, for no charge of consultation, we will email the dosage information and suggestions to you. And if you're really into natural medicine and you want to help spread the word about natural medicines, spread the word and help this video go antiviral. Take care, and on to the next video.